Fall camp right around the corner. 2 days from now, you got the media schedule today, Zach, and Heupel is set to talk on that first day. And as always, you expect in that first day. I noticed you sent us the media schedule, the open period, which would be when media can take video and actually see practice, is 2 periods out of 6. And the first period, most of it's like stretching. So you're not going to see a lot, at least in that maybe this first week. But that it is what it is what always happens every year. And then eventually you get to real practices and things really start to come together. But are you looking for anything in particular out of fall ball leading up to the season? Because we're so close. Is there anything you're looking out for, Zach?
Yeah, I think obviously stay healthy. That's the biggest thing of anything. And I think the running back battle, I think that's going to be interesting to see how that plays out, who emerges. Do they give any hints? I'm really intrigued to see how the running backs are used in general this season. It's a different setup than Josh Heupel's had his first couple of years. And you've got Dylan Sampson, who's the clear number one. Last season, you pretty much knew it was going to be Jalen Wright. Then you knew Sampson was there, and you knew Jabari Small. He's not as electric as Sampson or Wright, but you knew what you were getting with him. He's a solid player, great in pass protection, picked up some chunk yardage when you needed him to. Really underrated player, good around the red zone. Now you just have a lot of uncertainty. And last year you were splitting carries with these 3 players. You had that luxury to ride the hot hand and know that if something happened, you still had this other guy to go to. What happens now? What's the split up like of carries? Because Sampson's going to be your best running back from the get-go. He has the most experience. He's gotten better in pass protection. He has that elusive ability, and he can break off a 70-yard run like Jalen Wright could. Do you want to take him off the field that much for some unknowns and some younger players? Is Cam Seldon healthy? Do you trust a true freshman like Peyton Lewis? Is it Khalifa Keith that gets more run this season? I think there's just so much uncertainty there, and it's such an important position for Tennessee. At this point, it's no secret that they run the ball almost as much as they pass it, despite their reputation. So you've got to have some running backs that you trust, and you want them to be fresh when you get into the fourth quarter, when you get late into the season. So I'm really interested to see how much work Sampson gets early in the year. And then later into the year, if they try to conserve him a little bit, manage his reps, or if they're just like, no, we don't trust these other guys as much. We got to have him out there, even though it's a bit of a risk because of the wear and tear. I think that's one of the biggest things I'll be kind of watching during camp to see. I don't expect Heupel to give any hints really, but does Darrell Sims, the new running backs coach, talk about the rotation? Does the offensive coordinator Joey Hosley talk about it? Just see if we can get a feel for that is one thing to watch.
Absolutely. It is really important just as a position that has seen so much rotation just in Heupel's first few years. He just had a really nice duo, sometimes trio at certain points where he could rotate guys out, and he's just not going to have that. That will be interesting to watch. Caleb says the offensive guard competition. Mm-hmm. It struggled in the orange and white game. 100% agree there. The offensive line in general, just because, again, it's another just so important position in this offense. It's all important with the offense because it all works in conjunction. But all of the sort of battles on that offense kind of where the wide receivers fall, because you don't exactly know who your set starters are going to be. I think there's pretty good speculation, but you got enough, transfers, new guys, and it's pretty deep room, and there's a lot to watch on that offense.
Yeah, I think the offensive line, obviously the left guard position is going to be huge. That's your one unsettled position going into the season. Is it Lampley, Carriage? You got some advice in lane. You got some options there. But beyond that, even though you got these other positions settled, what's the depth? Who steps up is the depth. You've got to have a backup center. Even if Cooper Mays plays every snap this season or every meaningful snap, you've still got to develop a center. for next season because you really don't want to go into the portal and get one because this offense, ideally, you develop your center this season and into next spring, and they're ready to go. By next fall. If you got to get a transfer, it's just, so you got to learn this offense. You're the guy out there making calls. We've seen how important Cooper Mays is. That's going to be a huge thing to replace after this season. So someone step up there. Your tackle depth. Does one of these young guys step up? Does Bennett Warren come in and instantly he's a guy that can come in and play meaningful snaps for you at tackle? You got to build that depth. So I think even though the offensive line is mostly settled outside of that left guard position, I think there's a lot of intrigue there with the players behind. You really got to see some guys step up and develop. You haven't really seen a tackle, developed yet that
No.
Tennessee took out of high school. You inherited Darnell Wright. You got Gerald Mincey from Florida. You have John Campbell from Miami, Lance Hurd now from LSU. Can you have some guys step up and play that position that you signed out of high school? I'm definitely watching that. And then with the wide receivers, I think you got Squirrel and Brew pretty much penciled in as veterans. They know this offense. They're going to be out there a lot. And then it's how do you get Dante Thornton and Chris Brazzell on the field? How do you get Mike Matthews and Braylon Staley as true freshmen out there? Because they're super talented players that should be able to contribute for you pretty early if they can, get this offense down. And they've been around, since spring and before at this point. It would definitely be interesting to see how that wide receiver rotation shakes out. But, you got to get through fall camp. One injury could throw all your plans out the window there. So that's why I don't think that we want to know the depth chart. We want to know the rotation. I think Josh Heupel and Kelsey Pope and Joey Hasley, I think they go into this fall camp like, let's just see how it shakes out and what works best for us, and we'll go with that.
Who even would be the backup center? Bison Lang?
I think so. Dane Davis has played some snaps
maybe
there.
They do like to go with the senior guys.
13 years or so now.
Yeah, he's in his 43rd year at Tennessee.
Which, hey, man, I know that guy's probably not going to be an NFL player, but he's provided versatility and he's stepped up and played some important snaps for this team when needed, when other guys just couldn't figure it out.
Hey, and a guy like that is super valuable. But as far as defense goes, the defensive backs, I think a lot of people are looking to see, is it just all senior guys, the oldest guys that they have? Because that's been the tendency. That's Heupel in general. Always seems to go with older guys. He likes more senior dudes. But do they switch it up? Does Boo Carter get run? Does
he should?
He exactly. I think there's a lot of people thinking that. And do they set aside that tendency to go to older guys for the most talented guys and the guys that could really be special? There's plenty there. And I don't think, you could say, oh, we want to see James Pierce, of course, but are you really going to see if he's added true explosiveness and real anything additional to his game during a fall camp session, and especially the amount of fall camp session that you can see as media? Probably not, admittedly, but it's going to be great just to see him again.
We'll get a good hype video from Tennessee about August 8th of Pierce blowing by Lance Hurd, and it'll be a freak out. Is Lance Hurd overrated? Is he okay? And then it'll be excitement over James Pierce. That's kind of how that usually goes.
Yeah, we'll just have to see. But as far as that goes, first day is Wednesday. We're gonna get, I think, what Heupel.
Lots of people talk tomorrow at their kind of media day. Coaches, players, Heupel, and then Heupel has to talk again Wednesday after practice, making him do double duty. That will be, if you keep up with Tennessee's media sessions during the season, he always talks on, I think, Monday and Thursday, and usually that Thursday media session is about 6 minutes long, and he tells you that they'll see where everybody is on like Friday night injury wise when he's not going to speak to the media any longer or any more after that. So we know nothing, and that's pretty much it. It's almost pointless. Yeah, it is pointless.
We'll see later in the week. We're going to hear a lot of that. We'll see later in the week.
Yeah, we'll see where we're
Campus.
at on the back end of this week. That's his fate. That's the way he phrases it. The back end of the week.
Yep.
Okay, you mean Saturday, like at kickoff?
I am interested to see. I don't remember in years past with media day, even with Butch, I was always kind of impressed that Butch let this happen. But his media days would be you got to go into the locker room and each dude would sit in their locker and you could just go up and interview whoever you wanted to. Essentially, I don't know exactly how it goes now because I don't do
Yeah, I
day to
think
day media anymore.
they're just at the podium, I think, and then these
Uh,
little like scrums, and it's there's like a selection of players. It's
of
already, I
course,
think the list is already out there.
it's gonna be Amari Thomas and
Keenan
Keenan
Peely,
Peely, just
Cooper Mays,
the oldest guys that are gonna say the
yeah,
least amount of stuff. Uh,
and the
yeah.
Australian punter, that guy.
Yes, of course. No, it's gonna be fun, and we can't wait. We're gonna watch it all. There was a little news this week about how they're gonna build a hotel on top of G10. That was kind of interesting. It's way off in the future,
It
but
sounds like an AI country song that somebody asked to be written about Neyland Stadium.
well, it was interesting. I posted as I said earlier in the show this weekend. Rode by Nealon in a boat this weekend, and took a picture and posted that. And I just I tweeted. I said soon with a picture of Nealon. And somebody in the comments made a good point. They said with the new hotel, that view that you have is gone. It'll
Hmm,
be a hotel now. It won't be that nice sort of curb appeal view of Nealon. You'll still have it from different angles. But I
yeah,
was like, that's gonna change the look of that entire facade in a very real way. It'll make G10 the actual garage. It'll make it look better from those renderings because G10 is just a big concrete block with nothing particularly remarkable about it.
yeah.
But that hotel, I mean, it's gonna be right up in front of the stadium if it actually all happens. Uh, but I would be excited. I think we had a show like last year sometime when I talked about my concerns. I used to live in downtown Knoxville. Like I care a lot about that development and how it all goes. I I have I'm skeptical just because it's away from downtown. It's not You're not in the middle of downtown. You wouldn't be able to walk there from a hotel in downtown
It
Knoxville.
it is the destination if you go
Yes,
there out of
exactly.
season or away from game day. That yeah, that is a reasonable concern because a lot of stuff like that can struggle when you don't have. I mean,
Yes.
it just has to be a destination. There has to be enough stuff there that people want to come there and spend time, and not just kind of a one-off deal.
Yeah, I mean they made a big shopping center right down near campus. It was a Publix and a Walmart and restaurants and Pet Safe and all of this stuff, and a ton of it's gone out of business because just people just like don't go down there. That just is not a common place to go. A lot of people live in West Knoxville and stay in West Knoxville unless you live in downtown. But hey, we'll see if that actually happens. But anything else, Zach, before we bounce out of here?
Yeah, I think that about covers it. I mean, this is it gets real after tonight. There's a lot to talk about
Oh
from
yeah.
here until well, really about this time next year, I guess. If the baseball team
Yep.
carries on, we'll go straight into basketball and the baseball, and hopefully deep into June with the baseballs.